Hey guys, in this video I'm going to give you 5 reasons why people fail in the tech industry. Here's number 1, settling. Yep, that's right people settle. They've gone to uni perhaps and got that degree, or they've got certified, and then they land that first role and they stay in that role for 5, 10, 15 or even 20 years, even up to retirement ages, and then they look back on their days and they wonder why they never progressed. This is the tech industry, people, and it is a fast-paced industry. Companies are always looking at ways how they can streamline their business processes, or they're looking at ways how they can better protect their data. They're always looking at ways and how they can advance. And so you've got to be able to look at the market and see what new tools are coming out and be willing to upskill. And this is the point. People are not willing to upskill, and so they get certified and then they just settle and sit, and sometimes become redundant in their skill set because the skills that they knew 10 years ago or they learned 10 years ago are now not relevant for where the market is going. You've got to be able to be adaptive and be flexible to look at the market and say, okay, I can see these new softwares coming out and I'm going to upskill myself. Instead of the market leading you, you've got to get ahead of the market, or at least get ahead of your organization if you want to stay a prominent figure in that role. Number 2 is this. A lot of people don't want to network. Some people, they're a bit more reclusive. Some people, they don't like to be around other people. Some people, they want to just do the 9 to 5, and as soon as it's 5 o'clock, go home and not bother to go out on the social gatherings. But it's good if you can network and get around other people, and even if it's not within your organization, perhaps go to some cyber events and things like that where you see other people in the industry and get an understanding of how other organizations work. And a familiar face is always a help to you, it's always assistance to you. If you don't network, sometimes you'll just get stuck. And you know, when you're going into interviews and trying to look for other roles, it's a great help sometimes if people can say, oh yeah, I've met you, we had a good talk, I kind of have an understanding of where you want to go in this industry. It's helpful. Number 3 is this. A lot of technicians, a lot of people that are IT specialists, they lack personal skills. And so there's a big gap between stakeholders and those that have technical skills. A lot of the time, those that have technical skills seem like they speak in a different language to the C-suite or to stakeholders. And so if you're a person that is able to have the technical skills, but also the personal skills in order to talk to project managers, in order to talk to portfolio managers, then you stand a good chance of bridging a gap and being more effective in your role and being considered in managerial roles. Because a lot of the times I'm working with project managers and they're great in talking to people but have no understanding of technical roles. But if you can have the technical understanding and have the project management ability, or at least be able to talk in a way or convey technical terms to a project manager or the managerial team in a way that they can understand it, basically plain and simple, then you stand a good chance of furthering your career in the tech industry. I was able to do this a lot of the time, and so what I found was that I was being called into meetings to give presentations of the technology products that we're trying to deploy for a client. And so the client would ask for me, or I'll be put forward by my company to explain technical things to clients who are non-technical, not technical, in a way that they can understand it and buy into the product. Number 4 is this. A lot of the time within certain tech companies, it's not what you do, it's what you can prove. And what do I mean by this? So you may be a hard worker, hopefully you are, and you may have gone and worked on a lot of projects, or you've just been working on the same system in your company. And for you, you're doing your job and you're doing a great job. And in certain organizations, your manager in the ideal world will see your efforts and say, you know what, when a position comes up for promotion, they put you forward. A lot of the time though, in tech organizations, especially the large multinational organizations, they don't often do that. There's too many specialists working on different projects, and so sometimes it's hard to just pinpoint one particular person to promote. You know, sometimes they say that people promote people that they like. So as I said in one of the earlier parts, that yeah, if you got a familiar face, sometimes that can work for you. But a lot of the time, you're not always so fortunate. And so you may be wondering or thinking to yourself that you've proven yourself to your organization or to your immediate manager at least, that the next promotion comes up is a given, that you should be the one put forward for it. However, that's not the case. A lot of the time what happens is you put yourself forward for it, or maybe colleagues tell you you should go forward for it, and then you go to a manager or to a panel and they're saying to you that, well, we need to have evidence of that you meet the abilities to fulfill this job role. So my advice to you is this: it's not what you do, it's what you can prove. Get a little log or a little portfolio of the tasks and the things that you're doing at work from the start. If you work in an organization, in a tech organization, where you're working on project to project, then take note of those projects and what you're doing in those projects so that you build in a little portfolio of yourself. If you're somebody that's just worked in one organization and it's probably a standard procedure or standard daily running of what you're doing, still take notes of your wins in that role. Because now when it comes to presenting yourself to the manager, or when it's time for promotion, you're able to show them, this is what I've been doing all this time. This is what I've been doing across these projects. It's not what you do only, it's what you can prove. You need to show them. And sometimes what you can do, here's a little nugget. Sometimes if you're working on projects, a lot of projects, and you're working and you've been a fundamental character, fundamentally enrolled in that project, you can send an email to the manager, project manager of that project, and say, look, I've done this, I've done that, and done this. This is at the close of the project. Are you happy with it? And so when you get these emails coming back about great work and, yeah, thank you for signing off on this, and thank you for deploying this product, or thank you that you've got this product over the line, and thank you for your involvement in the coding. When you get all these emails, these are adding to your portfolio so that you can present them when you need to go for an interview, or you can present them to internal interview with your manager and say, I've brought this to my role and I can do this for the next role that I'm applying for. Number 5 is this: fear. A lot of people do not progress in the tech industry because of fear. Once you get into the tech industry, whether you've gone down the route of being a developer, whether you've gone down the route of being a tester, project manager, you know, once you go down that route and you get yourself that job, a lot of the time there's different roles that open up, because as I said, the industry is a fast moving industry. And so somebody either leaves, somebody's gone on career break, somebody's taken maternity leave, paternity leave, or they've realized that there's a new need in the company, a new requirement, and so there's a new specialism, there's a new role that's come up, and so now they're looking for different people. And here's the thing: companies would rather employ internally because it's cost effective than putting out a recruitment drive externally. And they offer up job roles within the company. Now you may just be there thinking, well, I'm only a tester, but you know how to code, or you know how to do project management roles, but you're fearful because it's uncharted territory. You've never really been put in the spotlight like that. And so people would rather sit down and be scared and let fear grip them instead of stepping out and then going for that next role. You probably got the transferable skills, but you just don't want to act on them because it just looks like a gray area to you. So don't let fear hold you bound when working in tech, because a lot of the time you don't always have the skill set, but you've got the skill set or people with the skill sets around you. And then there's a whole wealth of resources online that you can look at to get yourself up to speed. And if you've got a good company, a good manager, they usually give you a bit of a grace period for you to do some research, to do some looking at old projects and see how things are done, so that you can get yourself up to speed and get yourself on your feet.